You know how he fired all those federal workers without even knowing what they do?
You cannot have a low-level district court judge filing an injunction to usurp the executive authority.
Well, a judge today ordered thousands of them to be rehired just in time for the government to shut down tomorrow. Things are running like a Swiss clock. You know, there was a time when firing people was the only thing Donald Trump was good at. He can't now even seem to do that.
You know, I gotta give it to him. There are few coming after Trump outside of the Midas Mighty, of course, like Jimmy Kimmel, especially on the late night circuit. And he's not just spewing hyperbole due to his clear disliking of the current president, but it actually involves substance. The fact that Trump despises Kimmel is just a bonus.
You know, on the campaign trail every day, Trump promised he would bring prices down on day one? Well, I guess we're starting to finally notice that he hasn't. According to the new poll from CNN, 56% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. And that was before he turned the White House into a Tesla showroom. Americans right now are starting OnlyFans to buy eggs. But it's nothing an unnecessary trade war can't fix. Trump has been systematically alienating our allies around the world. Yesterday, he did Ireland. He's going alphabetically. It's screw you, Australia, Britain, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany. Skip the H, went right to Ireland. And you're next, Japan. Oh, he did Japan already? Well, then look out, Korea. You're the one that's next. Today, Trump threatened to put a 200% tariff on alcohol imported from Europe. That includes wine, spirits, and beer from Europe. And that is particularly unfair. He's making it very expensive to get drunk. He's the reason we need to get drunk.
As another week of turmoil, chaos, and uncertainty draws to a close, we're left with a lot to process. I mean, there's the whole market catastrophe that leads to some Olympic-level verbal gymnastics on Fox and Newsmax as they try to deflect blame from their fearless cult leader. You know, the man literally sending the market into a tailspin.
Getting down to close to session lows. The Dow is down about 540 points. Folks, it is the S&P that appears to be about to close in correction territory, down 76%. We will see what happens tomorrow.
Since last July, I was talking about a correction that would happen in early 2025. So this correction is overdue. Nothing to do with Trump, nothing to do with tariffs. It's a market correction, and I still think we have room to run to the downside. I would be very hesitant to touch anything tech right now.
And the only problem you have with these tariffs, there's always a scoreboard, and that's going to be the stock market. And people are looking at the stock market like, hey, this is how it's going to continue to be for months and months and months. That's not going to happen. You know, we were probably over bloated with the stock market here for a while. We went up quite a bit. But at the end of the day, it's about fairness. It's about having fair tariffs, everybody on the same page. And again, President Trump has put together a smart group of people that understand a lot about the dollar, a lot about foreign currency, all the things that are going on. At the end of the day, it's all going to work out, and it's going to work out better for the United States of America.
Then, on the subject of deflection, well, get a load of the leader himself finding new ways to avoid pissing off Putin that even Putin's most trusted allies in the Kremlin would be impressed with.
Leaders from Russia and Iran are heading to Beijing tomorrow to discuss nuclear programs. What do you hope to get out of that?
Well, maybe they're going to talk about non-nuclear programs. Maybe they're going to be talking about the de-escalation of nuclear weapons, because, you know, I was talking about that with President Putin very strongly, and we could have done something had that election not been rigged. We would have had something. I think I would have made a deal with Putin on de-escalation, denuclearization, as they say. But we would have de-escalated nuclear weapons.
But back to the subject of Trump tariffs. You know, the thing his own press secretary needed a quick lesson on understanding.
When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious for why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press.
Well, Kimmel used a significant part of his monologue to outline the further chaos that Trump is hell-bent on spreading as he comes after, well, the only thing that helps dilute the sound of Trump's voice in my ear, red wine.
You know, if you look at Europe, take a look at the EU. We're not allowed to sell cars there. It's prohibitive because of their policies and also their non-monetary tariffs. They put obstacles in your way that you can do nothing about. But if you take a look at what happens, so we sell no cars to Europe. I mean, virtually no cars, and they sell millions of cars to us.
They've been going back and forth. The EU said, oh, yeah, we're going to put a 50% tariff on boats, bourbon, and motorbikes from the United States, which is interesting because boats, bourbon, and motorbikes, they're specifically targeting Kid Rock for some reason. Stocks were down again today. The Dow was down 537 points. So far this week, the Dow has dropped almost 1,700 points. But don't worry, Trump and his Secretary of Treasury say the White House is focused on the real economy and they are not concerned about a little market volatility, which is confusing because, previously the stock market was the only thing Trump bragged about more than playing golf. These are all tweets about how great the stock market was under him.
If he gets in, you have the greatest depression in the history of this country. Your stocks will go to hell. Everyone thinks stocks, oh, it's rich people. Everybody owns stocks. Your 401ks. Who has a 401k here? That's a lot of people. If Harris wins this election, the result will be a Kamala economic crash. When I win the election, we will immediately begin a brand new Trump economic boom. It'll be a boom. We're going to turn this country around so fast.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
So, which one is it? It cannot...
But not just that. Kimmel alluded to this week's ruling by a federal judge that ordered federal agencies to rehire tens of thousands of probationary employees who were fired amid President Donald Trump's outright turbulent effort to drastically shrink the federal bureaucracy. U.S. District Judge William Alsop described the mass firing as, quote, a sham, a strategy by the government's Central Human Resources Office to sidestep legal requirements for reducing the federal workforce. Alsop issued his ruling in a lawsuit brought by federal employee unions. He lashed out at the Justice Department over its handling of the case, saying that he believes the Trump administration lawyers were hiding the facts about who directed the mass firings. Well, I think there would need to be some comprehension of facts if there were facts to be hidden. And the thing is, it's not just Kimmel or elites or even liberals that are taking issue with Trump's chaotic handling of his second term. Just look at the response at Republican-held town halls across the country. Republican politicians are being met with staunch pushback akin to how J.D. Vance is met with in both the Kennedy Center and at every Bed, Bath & Beyond.
Kill that light!
We're
not allowed to cut our job.
Yep.
Do your job.
Yep.
Stand up to Trump. Do your job that you were sent there to do.
Yep.
You represent us all.
Thank you.
You got nothing to say.
Thank you for that feedback.
You're lying. I'm a veteran. You don't about me.
To be clear, Sheriff.
You don't get to take away our rights. You don't get to take our rights to get off of it. You don't get to do this to us.
clear they're losing ground across the board, even amongst groups that they claim to have overwhelming support, like veterans.
And I'll tell you who they really hurt. It's a war on veterans. 30% of the civilian workforce is veteran. And a disproportionate share of the probationary, the new employees, are veterans because they career switch from the military into the civilian workforce, and then they are on probation for a year, hence easy for Trump to kick out and fire. So these firings mean that Donald Trump in 6 weeks has fired more veterans than any president in the history of the United States, and he's not done. And can I make it even more pointed? They're going to fire 80,000 people at the VA. We just opened a VA clinic, state-of-the-art, $350 million facility in the Fredericksburg area last Friday. But sadly, the building's nice, but they got a skeleton crew because of hiring freezes and firings, and the fact that a whole lot of people who might want to work with veterans look at it and say, gosh, I don't think this is a good place to go to work right now. And so if you're going to punish veterans by firing them, and then you're going to punish the VA, making it harder for veterans to access services, this is a war on veterans, and they can't claim it's accidental. Donald Trump was president once before. He knows who the federal workforce is. Russell Vought ran the OMB once before. He knows who the federal workforce is. Why would they decide to disproportionately punish people who have worn the uniform of this country?
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.